Today I'm going to introduce for the very first time a concept that I've learned very recently. This concept has always been relevant, but it's now more important than ever, I believe, to be aware of. And it offers a whole nother way that we can perceive life. It's called the game of life. You guys have probably heard this concept before, but I am going more in depth with this. So there's really four main components in the game, and that's the players, an objective, and there's an opponent, and then there's also an instruction manual, and there's missions and tests. So the instruction manual actually comes with a set of rules that comes with the game. But this game, it's no ordinary game. It's not Monopoly, it's not Candyland. Unlike the traditional board game, there is no single player that wins the game. Every single person wins, and everyone's playing. So beginning with the players, there are currently 7.8 billion players in the game of life. As you can tell, every single person is playing. So you are the main player of your game of life, right? You're the most important person in your life. And the game was structured in a way so that everyone will eventually win, including you, including me, but only if you play by the rules. So you have to go by the rules. And attempting to cheat and scam the system will only lengthen the process, and it'll make it take longer for you to reach the end. So everyone else is playing the game too. So everyone besides you is a supporting character in your life, whose main function is to help you win. The same way that you are here to help them win, your friends and everyone else in your life. So I know it sounds weird. Shouldn't the other players of the game want you to lose so that they can win? And shouldn't you want them to lose so that you can win? No, not at all. The other players of the game are not your opponents. So rather, the opponent actually lies within you and each and every one of us. That just took a huge turn. So you're competing against the opponent to win the game, but the opponent is inside of you. What does that even mean? Well, the opponent is relentlessly trying to stop all of us from succeeding and passing the challenges of life. So you know how in Monopoly you come against, there's a challenge. You have to pick up the card and then there's a challenge. Well, those are like the same challenges that we have in life. They're called hardships. So this opponent that's inside of us, some like to call it the bad voice. We're taught at a young age we have a good voice and a bad voice, an angel and a devil on our shoulders, right? Some call it Satan, some call it the devil or Lucifer. It doesn't matter. They're all synonyms for the same negative force that's causing all of us to do the wrong thing. And usually these challenges of life, these cards that we're pulling in the board game, they're all we're all meant to pass them. And usually they entail actually correcting or transforming our negative qualities and traits. So those are our tests. Those are our hardships. It entails transforming and correcting our negative qualities and traits and overcoming our hardships. So fine, we'll stop being jealous of our friends. We'll stop hating our ex and whatever other negative qualities that we have, and we win. I mean, that is how we win. That is how you win. But as many of us are probably aware, the opponent is very strong, almost too strong. It's very hard not to be jealous, to not hate our ex, or whatever else that's going on in our lives that are negative qualities. It's very hard to not think negatively or say negative things or do negative things. And you win, so everyone wants to know how to win, right? You win by completing all of the challenges. So for a rare number of people, overcoming the opponent and passing the challenges can take a few years or decades, but the majority of us, let's be honest, this can take numerous lifetimes. I mean, it's not very easy. Even the most well-off and happiest people in the world still have some of the hardest challenges left to correct. So in truth, doing this, it's one of the most difficult things one can do, overcoming our challenges. Right now, people are starving, living in poverty, and suffering for thousands of years. They don't even have the basic needs to even understand the game because they just can't or won't pass the challenges, or they didn't pass the challenges, or whatever, which proves that this game is no joke and it should be taken very, very seriously. So lastly, I didn't mention the rules. So the rules. There is a time limit to the game. But before the time limit ends, you have an infinite amount of opportunities. Those are the challenges and tests and missions. You have an infinite amount of those tests and hardships to overcome so that you can win. So you have an infinite amount of opportunities to win. But the closer you get to the end of the time limit, I'm not going to get into what the time limit is and this stuff, that's for another video. But the closer you get to the end of the time limit, basically what I'm saying is the longer you wait, the game gets drastically harder and harder. So we want to win the game now, while it's still relatively easy in comparison to how hard it will be later on in our lives, or later on in the course of humanity. So to summarize what I said into normal words, in my eyes, everyone's mission in life is to become the best possible version of themselves through overcoming their negative desires and their negative qualities. And watching this video, literally this video that you're watching, serves as a notification. You can think of it as a reminder, or as a push notification that the game is still going on. Whether or not you're consciously participating in it, you are actually inside of the game right now. And we need to start taking the concept of change much more seriously.